As night settles softly around you, let the gentle whispers of the forest guide you into a peaceful slumber. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Tonight, we journey with Lyra, a fairy who discovers the hidden path to the land of dreams, a realm of wonders, mysteries, and beauty beyond imagination. Let the soft, enchanted rhythms of the story carry you into a tranquil sleep, where dreams dance like fireflies and the world of magic awaits. Relax, breathe deeply, and allow the story to unfold, leading you into a dreamlike adventure. The story begins. In the heart of an ancient forest, where light falls soft and spectral through the canopy of emerald leaves, a fairy named Lyra stirred. There was a whisper in the wind, a murmured secret trailing through the trees, a song older than memory itself. The elder trees had been speaking, but not to just anyone. Only those with a patient ear and a heart tuned to the forest's quiet rhythms could catch their words. Lyra had always been one of these rare listeners. The story was as old as the forest's roots, drifting like pollen on the night air. It told of a hidden path that appeared only as the dawn's first light kissed the forest floor. A path veiled in mist and mystery. This path, they said, led to the land of dreams, a place untouched by the laws of waking life. It was a realm of marvels and impossible beauty, where memories shimmered and danced on the surface of silent moonlit pools, and where the wishes of the heart took form, fragile and glowing. Though Lyra had heard the story many times before, this time something felt different. The elders' voices lingered in the air, more vivid, more urgent, like leaves trembling just before a storm. She felt a stirring in her chest, a pull so faint and distant it might have been mistaken for a stray breeze. Yet it resonated within her, awakening something that had slept quietly beneath her gentle exterior for as long as she could remember. The night deepened, and Lyra sat cross-legged beneath the great elder tree, her eyes wide, her silver wings folded softly against her back. She looked up at the twisting branches, their dark silhouettes drawn against a sea of stars. Somewhere out there, just beyond the reach of her mind, lay the mysterious land of dreams. She could almost feel it, like a half-remembered melody or a shadow on the edge of her vision. It beckoned her, promising wonders she could scarcely imagine, whispering of beauty and mystery that transcended the everyday magic she knew. The legend of the secret path was not a tale shared freely. Those who had tried to follow it rarely returned, and those who did were never quite the same. They spoke of shifting landscapes, of creatures with eyes like starlight and voices like waterfalls, of moments that felt like hours and hours that felt like moments. The path was not for the faint of heart. It required more than just courage. To find it, one had to be willing to listen, to trust, to follow a calling older than any fairy's memory. Lyra's heart beat faster as she considered the legend. She, like many fairies, had an insatiable curiosity and a longing for the unknown. But she also knew her place in the forest and had always respected the natural order. Yet something within her, something she had never felt so strongly before, urged her to go, to seek out the hidden path and glimpse the land of dreams for herself. The hours crawled by, and Lyra felt the pull growing stronger, as if the very air around her were thickening with the possibility of something extraordinary. The first faint glimmers of dawn began to brush the sky, casting pale light on the leaves above. Her gaze drifted back to the ground, searching for any sign of the path. She felt as if the forest itself were watching her, holding its breath, waiting. Finally, she whispered into the quiet, "If the path truly exists, show me." For a long, still moment, nothing happened. The forest seemed to hold her words, letting them sink deep into its roots. And then, as if in answer, a soft glimmer sparked in the shadows at the edge of the clearing. A thread of light so faint she might have missed it if she'd blinked. It twisted and curled, tracing a faint line through the mist. Lyra felt her breath catch as she rose to her feet. There it was, the path, woven from light and shadow, leading into the depths of the forest where even the bravest fairies rarely dared to go. The ground beneath her glowed faintly as she stepped closer, and the world seemed to grow quieter, as if the forest itself were holding its breath, waiting to see if she would take the first step. She paused, one hand resting on the rough bark of the elder tree, as if to anchor herself to the familiar before stepping into the unknown. The dawn was breaking, the path was calling, and Lyra knew she had to make a choice. With a deep breath, she let go of the tree, her fingers brushing the soft, dewy air, and stepped onto the path. The moment her foot touched the trail, the light around her seemed to shift, folding her into its silvery glow, and the world of the forest fell away, leaving only the strange, whispering silence of the path that would lead her to the land of dreams. The world shifted around Lyra as she took her first steps down the secret path. A shiver of enchantment coursed through her. Every blade of grass and fallen leaf beneath her feet seeming to hum with hidden life. The path wound through the forests like a silver ribbon veiled in morning mist, faint and ethereal, visible only to those who dared to look deeply enough. The trees along the path leaned close, their branches arching overhead to form an ancient shadowed tunnel, as if they too knew of the mysteries that lay ahead and sought to shield them from wandering eyes. The further Lyra walked, the stranger and more unfamiliar the world became. The vibrant greens of the waking forest softened, replaced by a gentle, otherworldly hue, as though a veil hung between her and the world she knew. The air thickened, carrying with it the sense of dreams, hints of forgotten memories, flashes of distant stars, the delicate perfume of flowers that bloomed only in the minds of those who believed in magic. Each step was like moving through a delicate web of mysteries, each strand tingling with unspoken secrets. Whispers floated in the air, brushing against Lyra's ears like the softest of breezes. They spoke in voices she didn't recognize, yet felt she somehow knew. A child's laughter, an old song long forgotten, a lullaby hummed in the quiet hours of the night. She felt her heart flutter, a strange mixture of fear and longing, as if every step forward carried her closer to something she'd once held dear, but had long since lost. The dawnlight shifted, and Lyra could barely make out a glimmer ahead. Shadows flickered in the mist, dancing along the path, shapes and figures half-formed and elusive. She saw fleeting glimpses of shimmering creatures whose forms seemed to change with every blink. A fox with silver fur and eyes like darkened glass. A white doe that vanished as soon as she caught its gaze. And birds with wings like stained glass gliding silently through the heavy air. There were dream creatures, Lyra realized, beings woven from the fabric of imagination, more real here than any waking creature could ever be. As she moved deeper, the path seemed to breathe with her, narrowing and widening, guiding her around bends that felt both endless and timeless. Lyra couldn't be sure how long she had been walking. Hours? Minutes? In this twilight world, time itself felt like a forgotten memory, stretching and folding like silk in the breeze. A soft rustling drew her attention, and she glanced down to see a line of tiny, glowing mushrooms sprouting at the edges of the path. Their light pulsed softly, leading her forward, each pulse in perfect rhythm with her heartbeat. As she leaned in closer, she saw they weren't merely mushrooms. They were luminescent, crystalline structures, each one reflecting delicate fragments of dreams, a small child's wonder, an old woman's long-held wish, a young lover's first kiss. She touched one lightly, and a warm memory from her own past flickered across her mind, a memory she hadn't thought of in years. She pulled her hand back, feeling both wonder and a faint sadness, as if she were moving through layers of her own soul. Suddenly, the path took a sharp turn, revealing a glistening archway woven from the branches of two trees twisted together as if in an eternal embrace. The arch shimmered with a faint blue light, and Lyra hesitated, feeling the weight of the choice she had already made. The land of dreams lay beyond. That much she could sense. She stood in the doorway of a world both inviting and impenetrable, its beauty like a forbidden song that beckoned her closer. Taking a steadying breath, she stepped through the archway, the cool glow wrapping around her like a silken veil. And as she passed beneath, the world on the other side revealed itself in full. The path behind her dissolved into mist, and ahead, The land of dreams stretched out like a midnight ocean, vast and glittering under a perpetual twilight sky. Stars hung low, close enough that she felt she could pluck them like flowers if she wished, their light mingling with the soft glow of countless fireflies that drifted lazily through the air. Hills undulated gently, covered in grass that shimmered like frost, and streams of water, impossibly clear, wound through the landscape, their surfaces mirroring scenes that felt both familiar and alien. A castle she'd once glimpsed in a story, the contours of a song, the silhouette of a friend she'd once known. She stepped forward, her heart swelling with a quiet awe, and felt the world breathe around her. The land of dreams was alive, its very essence pulsing with forgotten wishes and whispered desires. It was a place of profound beauty, but also of shadows cast by those very same wishes, an echo of the sorrow that lingered in even the most cherished dreams. Here, the boundaries of reality dissolved, and Lyra felt herself slipping between what was real and what was imagined, as if the land itself were drawing her into its endless mystery. She looked up, eyes wide, as a soft wind carried a strange, echoing whisper, a voice she didn't know, but felt she had always known. "Welcome, Lyra. Welcome to the land of dreams." Lyra wandered through the land of dreams, her senses sharpened and softened all at once, overwhelmed by the strange and wonderful landscape stretching out before her. The sky was neither dark nor light, but hung in an eternal twilight, bathed in hues of violet and silver, as if time itself had surrendered here, becoming something fluid and malleable. The stars sparkled like forgotten jewels, casting faint glows that pooled in the soft grass beneath her feet. She moved as if in a trance, her gaze captured by every detail. A tree with bark that shimmered like obsidian, its branches dripping with silver leaves that chimed softly in the breeze. A lake that stretched vast and still, its surface reflecting the constellations above with startling clarity. Lyra peered into the water and caught glimpses of faces, places, fragments of stories she did not know but felt she somehow belonged to. Drawn to the lake's edge, she crouched down, reaching out to skim her fingertips over the water's glassy surface. Ripples spread from her touch, and in their wake images blossomed, sharp and vivid as memories, long buried but not forgotten. She saw herself as a child, flying clumsily through the forest, her wings still soft and new. She saw herself comforting a friend, her heart open and unguarded, then saw herself in moments of joy and sorrow that had shaped her, leaving indelible marks on her soul. But beneath her memories, deeper in the lake's reflection, she glimpsed another world, a life she might have lived had she taken a different path. She saw herself as a healer, with herbs and flowers woven into her hair, her hands glowing with a warm light. She saw herself as a lone wanderer, her face weathered by time and travel, her eyes filled with a quiet wisdom. Each ripple brought another possibility, each one a dream she'd let slip by without even knowing it. The sight stirred a faint sadness within her, mingled with a strange sense of peace. This was a place where all that could have been lay side by side with all that was, where every dream, every decision had found a home. Standing, Lyra continued down the path, her eyes wide as the land of dreams unfolded in wondrous and impossible shapes around her. She saw mountains with peaks that faded into clouds of color, streams that seemed to flow backward, carrying forgotten memories against the current of time. Strange and delicate creatures flitted through the air, some with feathers like dappled starlight, others with scales that glistened like fragments of rainbows. They glanced at her with knowing eyes before vanishing into the mist, as if her presence here were expected, as if she too belonged. As Lyra walked, she felt a peculiar sensation tugging at her heart, a pull she could not name. It was not a call to return to her own world, but something deeper, something woven into the very essence of this place. She knew, without knowing how, that this land held a power unlike any other. A power to reveal not just the dreams of those who wandered here, but the truths they dared not face, the longings they carried in silence. Lost in thought, she nearly stumbled into the presence of a tall figure standing in her path, cloaked in mist and shadow. The figure radiated an ageless wisdom, and his eyes, black as the void between stars, shimmered with a strange, gentle light. Lyra's breath caught, for she knew in her heart who this was, even though they had never met. "Welcome, Lyra," the figure said, his voice a soft rumble like distant thunder. "I am the keeper of dreams." Lyra's voice trembled as she replied, "I have heard of you in whispers. I thought you were a myth." The keeper's lips curved in a faint smile. "All myths begin as truths. I am the guide of those who dare to enter this realm, the watcher of dreams and wishes, of fears and secrets. And I have been waiting for you." A shiver ran through her as she met his gaze, feeling as though he could see every corner of her soul. "Why me?" she whispered, almost afraid of the answer. The keeper tilted his head, considering her carefully. "Because you carry a question, Lyra, one that has tugged at your heart for longer than you realize. This is the land where questions find their answers, but only if the seeker is brave enough to look." Lyra felt her heartbeat quicken. "What question?" He smiled gently. "That is for you to discover. The path will lead you where you need to go if you trust it. But know this: once you step further into this land, you will be changed. Dreams can bring joy, but they also hold shadows, and those shadows can shape you in ways you may not yet understand." She nodded, the weight of his words settling over her like a cloak. "I am ready," she said softly, though a flicker of doubt lingered in her heart. Then follow the path, the keeper said, stepping aside. It will show you what you seek, and perhaps more than that. Lyra took a deep breath and continued down the path, her steps quiet, her heart heavy with anticipation. The land of dreams stretched before her, a place of boundless beauty and mystery, alive with secrets waiting to be uncovered. As she walked, she felt as if the land itself were watching her, sensing her every thought, every hope, every fear. In this realm of shadows and starlight, Lyra felt herself beginning to slip between worlds, between truths and dreams. The path was winding and strange, leading her deeper into the unknown, where questions lay hidden, like gems beneath the earth. She sensed, somewhere on the edge of her consciousness, that the answers she sought were closer than ever, waiting in the quiet spaces between one dream and the next. Lyra moved deeper into the land of dreams, her mind and heart alive with questions that hummed and echoed, filling her thoughts like distant thunder. The path wound through shimmering glades and beneath trees whose branches seemed woven from strands of starlight, their leaves dripping with tiny orbs of light that blinked and flickered like fireflies. These orbs held dreams, she realized, some familiar, others utterly foreign, each one a fragment of someone's deepest wishes and fears, memories and longings. Yet it was not just beauty that filled this place. Shadows lingered at the edges of her vision, fleeting but unmistakable, adding a strange tension to the dreamlike serenity. This land was alive with both light and shadow, joy and sorrow. And it was in this duality that its magic seemed to reside. As she walked, Lyra felt the faintest whisper in the air, a presence she recognized. She looked up, and there, standing silently beneath a tree whose bark glowed faintly silver, was the keeper of dreams, his dark eyes fixed upon her. His gaze was knowing, as if he could see not only into her heart, but into the secrets she kept hidden even from herself. "Are you finding what you seek?" the keeper asked, his voice a low, resonant murmur that seemed to echo through the twilight. Lyra hesitated, the question hanging between them, like the mist that curled around her feet. I don't know, she admitted, her voice soft. "I feel as though I'm walking through pieces of myself I never knew existed. But it all feels so fragmented." The keeper nodded, his expression unreadable. "Dreams are often fragments, Lyra, pieces of what we are, woven together from memory, desire, fear, and hope. To walk this path is to confront these pieces, to see yourself in ways both beautiful and terrible." A shiver ran through her as she met his gaze, feeling the weight of his words settle over her. "And what if I find something I don't want to see?" The keeper's eyes softened. "That is the risk of every journey, even within dreams. But it is only through facing what we do not wish to see that we come to understand ourselves." He gestured for her to follow, and together they walked deeper into the heart of the land of dreams, moving in silence. Around them, the landscape seemed to change, shifting and reshaping itself with each step. Hills turned to valleys, forests gave way to open fields, and streams appeared, winding through the dreamscape like veins of silver. Each change seemed to respond to Lyra's emotions, her thoughts, her quiet fears that trailed behind her like shadows. At last, they reached a glade filled with mirrors of every shape and size. Some were clear as crystal, others clouded and cracked, their surfaces reflecting not only Lyra's image, but also strange, elusive visions that flickered and vanished as soon as she tried to focus on them. These mirrors, the keeper explained, are portals to your own soul. Each one shows a different aspect of you, each revealing a part of your heart that you may have hidden or forgotten. Lyra stepped closer to one of the mirrors. Its glass dark and polished like the surface of a still lake. As she gazed into it, she saw herself, but not as she was now. She saw herself as a young fairy, filled with dreams of adventure, her wings trembling with excitement at the thought of exploring the unknown. She remembered that feeling, the thrill and the courage that had once burned within her. Yet, as she moved to the next mirror, she saw another side of herself, a part she barely recognized. This version of herself was older, quieter, her gaze softened by the weight of sorrows and regrets. She saw memories she had buried, moments of hesitation, of choices not taken, of roads left unexplored. These were the shadows she carried, fragments of dreams abandoned, of paths lost to time. A pang of sadness welled within her as she looked at this reflection, at the version of herself who had known loss, who had learned that even in a life of magic, there were things that could never be reclaimed. She felt her chest tighten, the weight of the choices she had made pressing upon her like a heavy cloak. "Why are you showing me this?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper, feeling as if the ground beneath her might dissolve into mist. The keeper's voice was gentle, like the quiet rustling of leaves. Because to understand the land of dreams is to understand that dreams are not merely wishes or fantasies. They are pieces of our very souls, woven from everything we have been and everything we have yet to be. They are our joys, but also our sorrows, our hopes, but also our fears. Lyra felt the truth of his words, a painful yet necessary realization that settled within her. The land of dreams was not just a place of beauty and wonder. It was a realm that held every part of her, her light and her shadow, her courage and her doubts. She was both the bright-eyed fairy who had once dreamed of exploring the unknown and the weary soul who had known loss and regret. With a deep breath, she turned away from the mirrors, meeting the keeper's gaze. She understood now the choice that lay before her. She could remain in this land of endless dreams, allowing herself to become part of its magic, her soul mingling with its mysteries forever. Or she could take this newfound understanding back to the waking world, carrying the weight of her journey, but also the wisdom it had granted her. The keeper's eyes glimmered with an ancient, quiet pride. You are beginning to understand, Lyra. The dreams we carry shape us, but so do the choices we make upon waking. You must decide which path you wish to take. Lyra looked out at the land of dreams, feeling the call of its beauty and mystery, but also sensing the dawn growing near, a faint light breaking on the horizon. She knew, with a certainty that went beyond words, that her journey was not yet complete. The keeper inclined his head, a soft smile on his lips. The path will show you the way. As Lyra turned from the keeper of dreams, the path before her shimmered, stretching into a quiet horizon. The soft light of dawn was beginning to stir at the edge of the sky, casting a muted glow over the land of dreams, as though even this realm held its breath for what lay ahead. Lyra's heart felt heavy and light all at once, a curious sensation of longing and finality woven together, like the last notes of a song just before they fade into silence. She walked in solitude, each step steady, yet reluctant, the weight of her choice settling within her. The landscape around her seemed to shift in response, mirroring her mood. The starlit trees began to fade, replaced by fields of soft silver grass that stretched as far as she could see, their tips glowing faintly in the pre-dawn light. Shadows whispered at the edge of her vision, flickering like candlelight, reminding her that the land of dreams was both inviting and mysterious. A place that offered beauty but held its secrets tightly, waiting for those brave enough to understand them. Ahead, Lyra could see a gentle rise, a small hill that looked out over the dreamscape. She climbed to its summit, and there, at the top, she found herself gazing at a scene both wondrous and solemn. The entire land of dreams lay spread before her, bathed in twilight hues. The rivers and lakes gleamed like polished glass, reflecting the faint glimmer of stars that seemed to linger just for her. And beyond, she could see faint shifting figures, other dreamers, she thought, or perhaps memories, their forms woven from threads of light and shadow. Each one moved with purpose, yet in silence, like echoes of forgotten moments, each carrying a fragment of someone's deepest self. She felt a presence beside her, though she had not heard a sound. Turning, she saw the keeper of dreams standing at her side once more, his gaze fixed on the horizon, his expression serene and timeless. "Lyra," he said quietly, his voice like a breeze stirring through tall grass. "The dawn approaches. You stand on the edge of two worlds, one of waking, one of dreaming. You must choose where you wish to be." Her heart pounded, and she looked back out over the dreamscape, her mind torn between the wonder she had experienced here and the life she had known in the waking world. Here she felt she could linger forever, exploring the endless beauty and mystery of dreams. She could lose herself in this realm, letting the land of dreams weave her into its fabric, becoming part of the magic that would echo through other wanderers' hearts. But in the same breath, she thought of her friends, her forest, the familiar sounds of birds at dawn, and the gentle rustling of leaves. She thought of the life she had known, of the simpler, quieter moments that had shaped her. The waking world was less magical, perhaps, yet it was real in a way that the land of dreams could never be. The weight of reality had a beauty all its own, a beauty that called to her now, reminding her of who she truly was. The keeper's eyes softened as he watched her, sensing the turmoil within her. The land of dreams will welcome you, Lyra, should you choose to stay. Here, you may wander for eternity, discovering wonders beyond even your imagination. You would be part of this place, forever woven into its magic, a memory and a guardian to future dreamers. Lyra's gaze drifted back to the horizon, the faintest glow of dawn now brushing against the edge of the sky. A tender reminder that the night was ending. She closed her eyes, feeling the weight of the decision settle fully upon her, feeling her heart strain toward two different paths. Finally, she spoke, her voice soft but sure. As beautiful as this land is, I think my place is with my own world, with my forest, my friends, my memories. Her words felt fragile but true, like a flower blooming at the end of the winter. I want to carry what I've learned here back with me, to see the world anew, even if it means leaving this magic behind. The keeper inclined his head, a hint of pride in his dark, knowing eyes. You have chosen with a wise heart, Lyra. The path will lead you home, and though you may leave this land, it will never truly leave you. Dreams live within us, whether we walk in the land of dreams or among the waking. As the dawn light crept closer, the keeper extended his hand, a single silver flower resting in his palm. "Take this," he said, "as a reminder. It is a part of this place, a fragment of the magic you carry within you. Keep it close, and when you look upon it, remember that dreams are never far, even in the waking world." Lyra reached out, accepting the delicate flower, its petals soft as silk, their color shifting subtly with the faintest touch of her fingers. She felt its magic, a quiet, enduring pulse, and held it close. A piece of this land that would live in her heart forever. Turning, she walked back toward the path, the first rays of dawn casting warm golden light over the land. Each step brought her closer to her world, yet she felt no sadness, only a quiet, contented ache. She looked back once, catching a glimpse of the keeper standing on the hill, his silhouette bathed in the twilight glow, his form already beginning to fade into mist. With a final nod, she stepped through the last veil of mist, and the land of dreams slipped away, its beauty lingering at the edges of her mind, like the traces of a forgotten melody. As she emerged into her forest, the dawn broke fully, filling the world with golden light. She felt the weight of reality settle around her, familiar and grounding. Yet, in her hand, she held the silver flower, its gentle glow a reminder of the path she had walked, the dream she had encountered, and the magic that now pulsed quietly within her heart. The forest felt both new and ancient, alive with a beauty she had never seen before. And Lyra knew, as she took her first steps into the morning, that she carried the land of dreams with her, a memory woven into her very soul, a piece of the magic that would linger always, waiting to be remembered with the first light of dawn.